Hello and welcome to what I'm confident you can tell is a different kind of episode of Imagine Dungeons. I hope it seems different so far. If it doesn't seem weird to you, maybe you haven't listened to very much of our show. It's not usually like this. There's usually a lot of other people here, but today it's just me. I'm Doge. I play Glint on the regular episodes of Imagine Dungeons, and I also compose our original music. That's actually what this episode is going to be about. Kind of behind the scenes look at the music of the show. We've never done a behind the scenes episode before, but we thought maybe this is an interesting way to start off our 2026 releases. So I want to take you guys on a special guided tour behind the music of Imagine Dungeons. We're going to take a look at the character themes for our 5-player characters today. I hope it's interesting. I hope you feel inspired when you listen to it. I hope you feel entertained when you listen to it. I hope you haven't turned it off already, if we're being honest with each other, but hey, that's always a possibility. But let's get rolling. So, like I said, my name's Doge. You know me if you listen to this show, if you listen to one of our other podcasts. I've been playing music my whole life. I minored in music in college, and none of that prepared me to write music like I have written for Imagine Dungeons. I've always been a fan of movie soundtrack style music. I remember in 2006, I received as a gift the soundtracks for Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl, and The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And I absolutely wore those out. They were the soundtrack to my 7th grade homework. And I've just always been a huge fan of that. I love the role that music can play in storytelling. So all that to say, I'm somebody who really loves this kind of music. I think it can do a lot of extra textual work as well. What I mean by that is, especially in an audio medium like this, you don't get the benefit of nonverbal performances, right? Like if Donnie is nervous about something, you don't get to see that on Carter's face because you're not looking at him the way I am when we're playing together. Or if Glint is fidgety and like wringing his hands, then I can try to make that come across in my performance, but it really ultimately, I feel like I need another tool to help express that. And so I think these character themes can do a lot of that sort of nonverbal heavy lifting that helps turn this from you're just listening to 6 friends talking about some guys they made up into something that hopefully feels pretty immersive and emotional. So all that to say, I started the composition process for Imagine Dungeons by writing a theme for each player character. This is, a short piece of music or a memorable, hummable melody that will play each time the character is on screen. I'm doing air quotes around the word screen. They're on screen or their actions are influencing the plot. Think of it almost like a character's theme song. So great example of this, not from Imagine Dungeons. If, like me, you grew up on Star Wars, then you know the importance of a character theme and you may not even realize it. If I play these 9 notes, sound like anybody? Right, that's Darth Vader's theme. You know exactly who I'm referring to with just 9 notes. Now, if Vader ever appears on the screen without these 9 notes, for me, it feels incomplete. Maybe it feels that way for you too. Like there's something missing, another dimension to the storytelling that we're just not getting. Now, picture this. It's 2005. You're watching Revenge of the Sith. Hayden Christensen is looking moody and sweaty, and his dark eye makeup's all smudged. He's standing in the shadows. He's got his hood on, and you hear these 9 notes. The music's telling you something the camera isn't, right? You're seeing inside of Anakin in that moment. You know Vader's in there. You just can't see him, but you can feel that he's there because of our memorable, hummable character theme. In this way, it feels like the score can sort of stand apart from the visuals and have a complete meaning. That will always mean Darth Vader, but the visuals feel incomplete without the score. Something the characters can't or won't say either because they're not aware of it or because Anakin's not going to look right at the camera and say, by the way, I'm going to become Darth Vader at the end of this movie. That can still be communicated through the music. So without further ado, let's take a look at our player character themes. I'm going to try to keep this relatively spoiler-free, but I'm assuming that you're coming into this having listened to all of Season 1 and at least the premiere of Season 2. I'm going to try to keep it vague still, but I may touch on some larger plot points. Let's start by taking a look at Donnie. Donnie is somebody who is caught between two worlds at the time that we meet him. There's the man he used to be, or the orc he used to be, Donyark, Ghaash'kalla, conquering barbarian hero of the demon wastes, keeping the demons at bay, keeping Eberron safe. And then there's who he is today, Donnie Gash, touring bard, singing fantasy outlaw country. He's basically Johnny Cash with a big war gong on his back. This is a really fun tension to dig into. I was really excited when Carter introduced Donnie to us at the table. There's a lot of fertile ground there in those contradictions, and it's really fun to write for. Donnie's theme was the very first character theme I wrote for our party. And here's that main melody. We can actually play it one of two ways. We've got the Demon Wastes variation with a raised final note and the Gunslinger variation. So here's the Demon Wastes version. You hear that last note? It's a little higher. It's sharper. And the Gunslinger variation? That ending right there, pulling us harmonically to the flat 7. That's something that we see a lot in classic spaghetti western scores, like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And so here's the full demo I wrote of this theme to show Carter. I've got this saved on my computer titled Hero of the Demon Wastes. Okay, we're back. We've got our spurs, we've got our boots. We're ready to head out to Valentine as Arthur Morgan. No, it was a lot of fun to kind of write in this spaghetti western style. That little horn flare at the very end, that's so cowboy movie to me. It's a ton of fun. So for the demo in particular, we started with that Demon Wastes variation, something kind of dark and foreboding. I wanted to sort of put us back in the mindset of Donnie as a young orc facing off against these demons. Our vocalist is singing his melody, but it's a little bit warped. Some pitches are off by just a bit. Some things aren't quite clicking into place. And then there's that shift halfway through into the real gunslingery sounding portion. Fun little bit of trivia here. Just about every time Donnie's theme is heard in the show, we're hearing one of his musical weapons take center stage. It's a lot of fun to write for a bard, write for a character who is himself a musician. There's a lot of fun little nods that we can do with the music to make it feel more like something that Donnie might actually be playing on the battlefield. So take a listen in the show when you hear Donnie's theme. Listen for his war gong, his flute, or his guitar. His guitar in this demo we just heard actually is me playing my guitar quite poorly. I'm not going to isolate that for you, but just trust me, it's in there and it sounds good when it's all mixed in with everything. Yeah, here's just a couple of my favorite places to catch Donnie's theme. This track is called Embers. This is one of Donnie's level up scenes. This one is called Light as a Feather. This was back in episode 2 when Donnie casts Featherfall as everybody jumps down the hole to the spider lair beneath the abbey. This one's probably the most metal track name we've ever come up with. Labyrinth of Pain? I don't know. I feel like that would go on a t-shirt. Some lightning bolts and skulls behind it might be pretty cool. This is the season 1 finale. Full on Demon Wastes sound here. And finally, this one, this track's called Wanted Dead or Alive. This is when Donnie sees that wanted poster in Gatherhold, full on spaghetti western outlaw here. Okay, that's Donnie. A ton of fun to play with sonically, a ton of different permutations to take this theme. It can go all the way from sort of a more traditional like fantasy sound all the way through a kind of Clint Eastwood cowboy movie sound. Just a ton of fun. Okay, let's talk Ridley now. So Ridley was, I guess, in contrast to Donnie, probably the most difficult character to find a good theme for. How do you write something that sounds like a businessman paladin? I didn't want to go full, like gothic choir, this is my patron god sound for Ridley because that doesn't really fit him at all. I also, admittedly, don't know much about the world of gently used boats, so there wasn't much inspiration to be found there. Ultimately, though, the thing that sort of unlocked Ridley's theme for me was trying to think through Ridley's eyes, see through Ridley's mind. I don't know, get inside his head. This isn't canon, but my impression of Ridley and what I used to kind of internally get to a composition that felt good was just thinking, as Ridley thinks about himself, I don't think he can separate the man, or the turtle, I guess, from the enterprise, the business side of him. Meaning, I think that the Fontina Marina is something Ridley's always going to think of as a foundational part of himself, of his identity. Lucky for me, Carter doesn't just play a songwriter on the podcast. He actually does write songs for Donnie to sing. He surprises us with them at the table. It is the highlight of the session every time that there's a new Donnie song.
Is your vessel not looking so clean? A raging sea has been too mean. I know a place you never seen. Come on down. And he looks like right up to Ridley. He's like, to Fontina Marina.
Okay, that's in universe. The jingle that Donnie wrote for Ridley after just a few weeks of adventuring together. Outside the story, This session, we happened to play this session at like the perfect time. This is right when I was trying to figure out what Ridley's theme should sound like. And so it was just the jumping off point I needed. Here's Ridley's theme. You can hear how it's sort of a modified version of that jingle Carter wrote. So that's the theme. We kind of repeat that as many times as you'd like to, but that's sort of the main bones of it. And here's the demo I wrote to pitch this theme to Vince. So you hear at the beginning, we've got a bunch of hard sounds playing that. That kind of, that jumping around sound right there. That's an open fifth we're rocking back and forth on. I wanted some kind of hard sounds, for lack of a better term, to represent Ridley's shell. We're getting pretty literal here, so I was thinking, maybe a xylophone. There's also some anvil in here at the very beginning to sort of call to mind the metals of Ridley's trident and his glaive. That main melody, it's a modified version of the Fontina Marina jingle. Joining in with those hard sounds at the beginning, we've got some plucky lute or dulcimer type of sounds, trying to kind of call to mind that medieval, coastal, merchant kind of feeling. While all in the background, we've got a French horn who's sort of softly playing, shadowing that Ridley melody. In my mind, this kind of represents a little bit of the heroism or honor in Ridley that I think he's unaware of in himself at the time that we meet him. Like there's a distant call to adventure, to more than the marina. I think Ridley's aware of it, but it takes meeting the rest of the crew for him to answer that call and hear that melody. So here's just a few of my favorite places to find Ridley's theme. We're going to start with a really fun one. This is one of the first pieces of music that I wrote for the show. This is called Tortle Enraged, and it's me wishing I could make something half as cool as the Doom soundtrack. This track is probably the polar opposite of that one. It's called Your Old Man. Sad Ridley, sorrowful Ridley, responsible Ridley, taking care of snaps. Here's another one of my favorite moments. This is from the track called New Days from episode 5. Vince had this great quote, "Maybe new days can happen any day." Ridley's hopeful view of the future, I think, here. Sure, he's been captured by pirates, marked by vampires, sailing away from his home, narrowly survived a Kraken attack, but new days can happen any day with anyone. And maybe with these people today, he can start being a new Ridley. And finally, we'll wrap up here on Ridley with the aura of found family. This is from the season 2 premiere. Some real intentional heroism from Ridley. Note that big, bold, brass statement of the Ridley theme and our kind of heroic djembe. Okay, on to Glint. Let me tell you something about this anxious, sad, insecure man. His theme was so hard to write. As a player and as a composer, it would be really tempting to write a bombastic, cool hero theme. And that's just not who Glint is. So I really tried not to do that. I wanted something a little bit more understated, something a little bit... that could work in a more somber, contemplative state, and also could work in sort of a heroic moment like this one. That track's called Tempestus. That's from episode 5. It's the moment Glint uses his Dragonmark power to escape the Kraken. So, fun fact, I actually wrote that track before even fully finalizing Glint's theme. So, here's the melody for Glint's theme. Minus all the accompaniment, it goes like this. Sometimes that second to last note is flatter. To get that whole tone, medieval fantasy sound. But you get the gist of it there. Now, the fully orchestrated version of Glint's theme has a couple of different pieces that stand on their own individually. There's the harp. This also appears in Glint's visions. I'm kind of viewing this as the string that ties him to what he later learns to be his elven heritage. There's this piece that I'm calling the elven vocal. This also appears anytime Glint is confronted with or reminded of his royalty. This is kind of as close to a theme for the Dragonmark as it gets. There's the actual Glint theme, a good thing to have in the orchestrated version. And then there's the beeps and boops that mean our favorite little robot, Davy Sprocket. Glint's piecemeal theme like this is really pretty intentional. Glint, as a guy, he's made of all these different pieces: nerdy child, a forge fighter, card collector, a confident inventor, spoilers for season 1, a lost elven prince, and he still isn't quite sure how they all fit together. I didn't actually know, by the way, that Glint was of royal lineage when I wrote this theme. I found out about that at the same time Glint did in the season 1 finale. Thankfully, because of the delay between recording and releasing the show, I was able to work a little bit of musical foreshadowing in, kind of sprinkle that elven vocal piece of his theme into scenes where it fit. But that was news to me. Musically, the full orchestrated version is inspired a lot by Bear McCreary's work, actually, on the Rings of Power soundtrack, particularly Galadriel's theme from season 1. So here's Mark of Storms, the full orchestration of Glint's theme. And here's a few of my favorite places to find Glint's theme. I'm not going to play Tempestus again, that track that we just listened to, even though it is my favorite. But that's when Glint first uses his Dragon Mark power to escape from the Blood Drunks. He decides to trust his new friends with his secret. Instead, I'll play you a rejected theme for Glint. And when I say rejected, I've rejected it myself. I don't want you to think anybody's bullying Sweet Baby Doge. But this is, I think you can kind of hear what I was going for. The weird intersection between like a fantasy elf and lo-fi techie sounds. Ultimately, I really couldn't make it work, and I went back to the drawing board. So enjoy this neat little piece of Imagine Dungeons Apocrypha. Kind of cool, right? I don't know. We may use something like that in the future. I think there's a good idea there. Ultimately, it just wasn't right for the moment I was trying to compose for. This is from New Days, same track we talked about with Ridley a little while ago. This is Glint's portion of that scene. Kind of a sorrowful, mournful feeling right after the escape from the Blood Drunks when Glint thinks his new friends, his only friends, his first friends, won't accept him because he's different or weird. He's got his glowing hand. And this is a track from the Season 2 premiere called Bloodlines. It's the first time we see Glint using an invention of his own design outside of combat. He feels in his element as he's conducting Eberron's first powder point presentation. There you have it. That's Glintwood Thistlewick.
Hey, howdy. Vince here. Been a pretty hard year for me. I'm going to be honest. It would be awesome if you
I've also never heard you say "Hey, howdy" in my entire life. That's crazy.
Hey, this is Vince. Listen, thank you so much for coming back. Night of Blizzards is something we've been working on for a while, and so we're excited to finally share this. It's super exciting for us. I know that it's exciting for you, and because of that, I'm going to ask you, leave us a rating, review, and send this podcast to your mom. Send it to your mom, and then let me know what she thinks. Okay, back to the show.
Okay, on to Sue now. When I wrote Sue's theme, I didn't really know much about their past. I think that's one of the unique things about this project, actually. because I'm not the DM and because I'm writing for characters that I didn't create, because I'm scoring a story that I'm not the only one telling. I'm learning a lot about Imagine Dungeons as we go. And these themes that I'm writing have the opportunity to kind of grow with the characters and change contexts and change vibes. And it's really just pretty special. And that's definitely the case with Sue here. Their theme has sort of quietly become one of my favorites to iterate throughout their character arc. Every time I get to write a new piece for Sue, it feels really special. So when we first meet them, they're relatively quiet, unassuming. She just wants to do a good job cooking for the pirates who she believes have hired her. But the more time Sue spends with the crew, the more they grow into sort of the glue of the group. My read on Sue is that they're kind of the emotional center or the unifying force. A cleric who is, yes, equipped to heal physical wounds, but also healing the broken bits in each of the party members and showing them that it's all right to wear your heart on your sleeve and just belong. It's D&D tropey for sure, like the Guardians of the Galaxy found family thing that's everywhere in D&D, but it's definitely effective when we're at the table. And I kind of feel that Sue is the driving engine of that, at least for our party. Okay, back on track. The main melody for Sue's theme. Here's the A section. And then it sort of repeats after that. This is in C major, the way I'm playing it right now. Took a lot of inspiration from Howard Shore's theme for the Hobbits from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. We all know that. That feels hobbity. It feels like home. It feels simple and peaceful, and that's what I wanted to bring for Sue. Now, the B section of this is just 3 notes. That's 4, as I count it now. It's just 4 notes. And here's the demo that I wrote to pitch this theme to Mariah. I knew right away that I wanted Sue's theme to feel like home. I also knew that she was not on the run, but at least displaced from her dream by a mysterious event in her past. Mariah just told us they caused a big fire. And if you've listened to the season 2 premiere, you know that's not exactly true. So when I take home as an inspiration, for Sue specifically, I'm really talking about a deferred kind of aching. You know, a longing for the home that you felt you were promised, but circumstances kept you from getting there. So for our A section, we're rocking back and forth between a 1 chord, or the home of the key, and the minor 4. It sounds like this. Now, usually this 4 chord would be major. It'd be like this. But if we just lower that 1 note, makes it a little bit more aching, a little more melancholy. By shifting it to that kind of sad sounding minor, we can evoke the kind of unease that I was talking about. I really hope this evokes the kind of warmth of a hearth, or the feeling of a stomach full of hot potato soup. Like maybe I ate a little too much and I'm a little uncomfortable with the hospitality that I've been shown here. Maybe I'm aching, I'm longing for something that can't be fulfilled. And then to accompany the B section that we all now know is 4 notes, we've just got a pedal tone. Our orchestra's just holding down this home of the key, the tonic, while the simple 3-note, 4-note B section plays over the top. So that descriptor of this going on down here, the pedal tone, that actually comes from the notes that an organist would play with their feet, which felt fitting. If you've ever seen an organ in a church, you know that there's hand keys and there's feet keys. Blows my mind. I could never do the feet keys, but the pedal tones would be the ones that the organist is playing with their feet. So it's nice to have a little bit of high church music in your clerics theme, right? It helps add a sense of holiness, I guess. The brief that I sent to the rest of the party whenever I finished writing this theme was I wanted it to feel like your best friend has knives flying around them in the middle of a battle, and then they start glowing like they're untouched by an angel. So here are a few of my favorite Sue theme moments. We're starting it off slow with You're My Family. This is Sue's heart-to-heart with Glint in Weed Warren, the glue turning an adventuring party into a family. This track is Guardian Angel. It's the back half of that demo we played earlier, almost lifted whole cloth from that demo, placed directly in the finale of Season 1. This is Sue summoning a coatl from the Ring of Ambrosia. We're going full, powerful, holy cleric in this one. And here's another one of my favorite Sue tracks. This one's called The Hemivore Diet. A hemivore is a creature who survives exclusively on blood. So like a leech is a hemivore. Also, a vampire would be a hemivore. So this is, I wanted these fast strings here to capture the breathless thrill of cooking for someone again. In this case, helping Leadhead meet his dietary restrictions in the Season 2 premiere. Okay, last in the order, first place in our hearts. There's none like her. It's Fiddlesticks. A fast-talking, frenetic thief. There was really never any question what Fiddles' music would feel like, namely Mission Impossible. I wanted something really Mission Impossible-y for her theme. So I knew we needed fast, pizzicato or plucked strings, and a somewhat unpredictable, slightly strange melody or meter, something that felt sort of off kilter while high energy as well. At the time I wrote this, the truth about Fiddles hadn't been revealed to the party or the other players just yet. We had no idea that Fiddles is a she and also is the daughter of Lord Bartholomew of Gatherhold. All we knew was that her eyes used to be not blue, and then they were blue. So this was kind of an interesting challenge for me. I had to write a character theme that worked for Fiddles as he was at the time, while also leaving room for Jordan to fully reveal the hook or the mystery behind Fiddles' true identity. So anyway, here's the melody I landed on for Fiddles' theme. It goes like this. And then repeats. We change instruments throughout. We change registers throughout to kind of continue to drive that intensity. So here's the heist-inspired cue I wrote to pitch this theme to Jordan. This is the only theme, the only kind of demo, I guess, that appears in almost its entirety in the show. That first bit is in the soundtrack as Draw Me a Map, Mama. It's from our second episode when Fiddles tracks Glint and Davy onto the Blood Drunk's ship. That second portion where it slows down, there's that kind of darker vocal sound. That's in the soundtrack. It's called Blue Eyes. And it's what plays when Fiddles' eye color changes in the mirror in Ramshackle's tower. This was a really fun scene because Gage actually dismissed all of us from the table. This is something that I didn't find out about until I was preparing season 1 to release. So that was a ton of fun. Those little surprises are always a blast. Okay, so for Fiddles' theme, the first thing to note here is that slightly off-kilter kind of chromatic melody. We've got those 4 notes right in a row. They're all present in the scale. It's kind of slippery and slidey, and it doesn't make a ton of sense. So Fiddles is difficult to predict, right? She also kind of wears that unpredictability as a mask in season 1, I'd say. You really get the sense that she's keeping people at arm's length, at least until the finale. Fast percussion, plucked strings, complement this kind of slippery, slidey melody. And I'm hoping it paints a picture of Fiddles' nervous or chaotic or frenetic, whatever you want to call it, Fiddlesness. Now to the B section, that slower vocal section. This is essentially me really just creating a mystery-shaped hole in Fiddles' theme and trusting that it would work well with the eventual reveal. And I really think it does. I think that gamble paid off. And this really works for Fiddle's transformation scenes. We can pull elements from this later on when Fiddles actually reveals her true identity, but overall, that's a gamble that I think paid off. Here's a couple more of my favorite pieces of Fiddle's music. First up is Mission Fid Possible, which, if you can't tell by the name, is an even more blatant ripoff of, or an homage to, let's say, Mission Impossible. This track is from the season 1 finale. It's called Undisguised Self. There's a couple real fun permutations of the Fiddles theme here. We've got our classic chromatic, slippery, slidey version. And then there's a more diatonic or happy sounding version at the end. You hear it? How it's a little different? That's when she reveals her true identity to the group. I feel like it's kind of the musical equivalent of like letting out a big sigh. You know, you don't have to keep a secret anymore, not with us. So your music can sound less weird. And finally for Fiddles, this is a track from the season 2 premiere called Points of Articulation. A string quartet version of Fiddle's theme. She's making a deal with Nandy, who is a genie that lives in an action figure. D&D is weird. Okay, that's everybody. We're all caught up. There's a ton of other themes that I've written for the show. There's some that I really love, like the Gatherhold theme. We've got our Blood Drunks theme. As well as some fun battle themes like Attackin' Kraken and Let's Boogie. You can find all of those on the Bandcamp and the official soundtrack releases. But I think as I'm wrapping up, the thing I want to say is that after nearly 2 years of writing and iterating on these themes, these core 5 melodies, the most surprising thing to me is that I'm not even a little bit tired of them. I get really excited when we play together and Donnie does something cool, or Fiddles steals something, or Sue summons another angel, or Ridley sees Turtle God again. It's exciting. It feels like making fun future plans with myself when I can add a new track to my giant Notion template and tag it with the character theme and write a brief description of the scene, and then come write it some weeks later and slot it into the episode. And it feels like both creating and assembling a jigsaw puzzle starring my best friends. Even though it's the same melodies, The variations are virtually endless. Feels like there's always a new layer to uncover, or a new light to cast, or just a new angle to look at these themes, a new dimension to these characters that we love. I think writing music for Imagine Dungeons really mirrors the experience of playing Dungeons and Dragons with your friends in that way. The story's always unfolding and growing and changing, and nothing's fixed. It's the chance for creative improvisation that's exciting in a safe environment, without fear of judgment or embarrassing yourself. You get to just create. And the opportunity to help build a collaborative, trusting environment where the folks at the table can be their earnest and, yes, dorky selves is a true privilege. I mean, I've been going for, 50 minutes now. The dorkiest thing I've ever done. Let me tell you about all the music I made up for all these guys me and my friends made up. But it's a privilege. It's so much fun. I'm privileged to create this show with my best friends in the world, and I'm so thankful and a little in disbelief that they trusted me when I said, hey, I think I can write some cool soundtrack kind of music for this. Jury's still out on if it's cool, but hey, I think it at least works on the show, and I'm happy with it, and I'm glad you've listened to it, and I'm glad you've listened to this episode. If you've enjoyed this episode, the first thing I want to ask you to do is join us on our Discord. That's linked in the show notes. I'll be dropping this track list that I've talked through in the episode today. I'll be putting that in the Discord with links to the songs that you can check out if you want to listen to the full thing rather than the little snippets that I've included here. That's a great place also to ask us any questions you've got about the show, or just engage with other listeners. You could also check out the soundtrack on my Bandcamp, which that sentence does make me feel like it's 2013 and I'm wearing skinny jeans and Toms, and I really would like you to look at my Bandcamp, but hey, look at my Bandcamp. I've linked it in the show notes. We've got soundtrack spread across 4 volumes for season 1, almost an hour-long release for the season premiere soundtrack, for the season 2 premiere soundtrack. Would love it if you check those out. All the music's free. Please don't put an amount there. Please don't pay me. Just download it for free and listen to it. The last thing you could do is you could send us an email at imaginedungeonspod@gmail.com, or an Instagram DM, a Discord DM. That all works. We'd just love to hear from you. We may even do more of these behind-the-scenes looks at the show. And if there's a specific question you have or something you'd like to learn more about, feel free to ask us. That's it from me. That concludes our look at the character themes for Imagine Dungeons. As we say on every episode, thanks for listening. We love you. We hope you only roll natural 20s at whatever table you find yourself at next. And that's it. Bye.